Hey guys, Walls here, back with a discussion of Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl. So before watching this video, you should have already read the story, spoiler alert, and all that. So I hope you like the story. It's one of my favorites. Now, one thing you should know before we get started is Roald Dahl is famous for writing stories like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, the BFG, Matilda. So he writes stories that have a big focus on innocence versus evil, I guess, not innocence, but children versus adults, the childlike, this idea that being of the world and in the world too long kind of corrupts you in a way, so that children and those that are not corrupted by the world are inevitably going to defeat those that are. If you think back to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you had that character who was like supposedly committing like corporate espionage, trying to steal Willy Wonka's secrets. I think that's how that goes. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But anyways, here we go. So we're going to talk about the story this week, and let's just get the plot out of the way here, I guess. So remember, the plot is exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. And this story plays pretty straightforward. There's no like major example of flashback or anything like that to talk about just yet. So let's knock out our protagonist and antagonist first. So Mary is the protagonist. And she goes up against Patrick at first, but I don't think he would be considered her main antagonist. You've got the police here actually being the main antagonist. They're the ones that are working against Mary the most. Now, in the exposition, Mary is waiting for Patrick to come home. And I love the description that the author gives us of just how much she loves him. She seems to just, really be in love with this guy. But the inciting incident, the thing that gets this story going, is Patrick starts behaving in a way that's unusual. He starts drinking heavily, and he's not really being very forthcoming or communicative with Mary. He's just kind of sitting there slamming back the drinks, even though she keeps telling him like, "Hey, I'd love to make you some food or help you relax." He's not having it. Now that leads to a major part of the rising action when Patrick tells Mary that he's leaving. Now, in the story, Patrick doesn't actually say it. The author doesn't actually write out, and Patrick told Mary he's leaving her. He kind of leaves it vague and lets the reader kind of fill in the blanks there, which I thought was really cool. Now, that culminates in Mary coming up behind Patrick, holding a leg of lamb like it's a club, and hitting him upside the head and killing him. Now, when we write the climax, we always want to try to focus on, in these maps, picking like the one major event that is the climax. I guess you could have kind of a short summary of that, but if I were to say that Mary goes downstairs and walks back upstairs and kills Patrick, that's a little too much. I want to focus on like when you're trying to identify the climax of the story, like what is the real one event that is the turning point of the story. And also try to use active voice. Like here, we wouldn't want to say Patrick is murdered. That's vague, and that puts the emphasis on Patrick. I think the emphasis here should be on Mary. Mary kills Patrick. All right, falling action. The police investigate. Now, the investigation is long. This story is mostly falling action. Most of the story is Mary going, "Oh crap, I've killed a man. Not only just a man, my husband and a police officer." And she's trying to make sure she evades capture. So a major part of the falling action is Mary. She goes and gets an alibi from the grocery store, and then she also, very subtly manipulates the officers. She uses that focus and emphasis on hospitality to kind of make the officers feel more welcome and at home, and they feel sorry for her. So she uses that to manipulate the officers into drinking, for one thing, on the job. I don't know if you've heard of alcohol and its side effects, but one side effect is that it releases or removes your inhibitions in a way, makes you more pliable to suggestion. So the officers have a drink, they relax. She says, "Hey, you'll be doing me a favor if you eat this leg of lamb that I was going to cook for my husband, but now it's just going to go to waste." So the police eat the weapon, and you can't see it here, but at the very end of the story, you need to have this. So the police eat the weapon, and Mary giggles. That's the end. There's nothing after that. So the resolution of the story is that Mary essentially gets away with murder. Now, we are going to have more discussion of the story in terms of, we'll look at some foreshadowing and flashback. Later, I want to discuss exactly how the author uses the expectations of the reader based upon the setting of the story and our knowledge of the time period to really try to surprise the readers. That's another discussion. Right now, just make sure you have the plot map like it looks right here. So at the end of this video, you should have done the plot setting or plot character conflict review notes. Watch that video. You should have a setting map and you should have a plot map. So hope you guys are having a good one. If you have any questions, concerns, email me, walls@mcnary.org, or leave a private comment on the assignment on Google Classroom, and I'll get back to you ASAP. All right, have a good one, guys.